There are a few words just inside in the headline. It's task-oriented, what we heard already in the morning, so we shall focus on what I present the users. It's society's spatial enablement, and what we really want to do is bring them the information that's right on right now, and we already heard in 2 presentations, sense observation services. That's what we are heading to, bringing in new spatially awareness. And first of all, I just want to step back a bit and just want to explain why to choose this title about a spatially enabled society. Talk to you about the need of why to integrate live data, and then show you some examples, what are the challenges and some results we are dealing with at the University of Salzburg, at the Academy of Sciences in Austria.
Well, I appreciate if you come closer to the microphone.
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
thank you.
So nobody can hear that.
So, what about the spatial society? So the concept itself is almost a few years old. We all know about the people behind the concept of the spatially enabled society. And in the end, it's a there are a few definitions on that. But so what's really important is that spatial information and location are known as common goods. So what we are doing here with Inspire shall be known as common good infrastructure. And why? And for what? We really don't use an infrastructure just as it is there. We have roads as an infrastructure because we want to go from A to B. And this is a very, very important thing. We don't need the roads just for us traveling, but we need the roads for business. We need it for innovations. We need it for creativity. And that shall also spatial information foster. That's the main principle behind it. And when I was looking at the definition, I was talking with my colleague and she said, okay, SDIs and therefore spatially enabled societies are linked together. And I said, no. She said, why? I said, they shall be linked together. But do you have seen a spatial information infrastructure that is linked to society right now? We are all heading towards this goal, but still we have to reach the end somehow. After 5 years of Inspire, it's time to show our results to everyone, to show it to this kind of society. And we are transitioning. Years ago, and I grew up with that kind of systems, it was a government-driven SDI. That was the major goal we wanted to achieve. But just look at the last 2 years. Who of you bought a smartphone? Maybe the first one. I bought my first one almost 1.5 years ago. But it's necessary right now. We are dealing with location everywhere. We are having amounts of new applications available on there, bringing in real-time information from train departures, whatever. We bring in this new information. And what we have heard already, we bring in information from air quality stations into the websites. We have to bring that together. We have to bring this information to the people. And that's where you have to change a bit. Our classic attitude, storing information, sharing it, and we know what Ian Jackson said today in the morning, sharing the information, that's the goal we shall achieve with all these treasures we have in our backyard. And spatial information is one of the biggest treasures we have. And if we look at that, and if we look at the SDs right now, and at our portals, we still face some problems. Usually, I am looking still I'm just a geographer, a research scientist, but in plenty of cases, I'm not looking into geoportals, finding my information I need for a project. I'm looking into Google. And we see how it's transitioning. If we look at geodata.gov, now to the data.gov, it's converging. It's not the spatial information, it's something spatial. It's special. Yes, it is in a way special, but it's not so special that it shall be treated as something very, very different. We have to integrate the information. And in the end, we want some results, what we do with Wolfram Alpha. We want to ask questions. We want to ask questions to a service that gives us right answers. That's what we have to achieve then there. And that's why. Because if we look at there, we see a huge amount of information increase of data sets we're having. But really finding those pieces of information you really need and are best fit for your specific research, for your specific analysis you have to perform, is kind of getting difficult. It's more getting difficult if we don't use additional options, included additional options. So if we just look at infrastructures that we are building now, we have the important thing. We are building up these infrastructures. They're perfect. They are service-oriented. They have everything what we need for the future. But we have to bring the content out there. Now we have the technical enablement. The content, that's what we have to share. And if we share this information, we have to make sure that we'll be able to discover this information sets we are needing. And we are really proud to have the two key things available. We have time with sense observation services, and we have space. We all know about space. We are really keen on working with the space itself. And we have two major tools to be really able for the future to bring these things together. And all of you know these other ideas, why to use the spatial information in a very ad hoc way. And this brings me to this kind of what already was introduced. When we are talking about information, about geo-information, we are usually talking about information with a specific timestamp. What we really have to work on, and we had already seen a few nice presentations on that, is that we have to bring in the real world, the real pulse world outside. So bringing it from measurements, them in from measurements, like from sense observation service, to integrate it with our infrastructure to do what? To do our everyday analysis in a specific time frame. So really start over, not only using the space, even now we can include the time as a very, very important thing for our analysis. And here's some example from the National Park in Berchtesgaden. So this information available of thousands and millions of stations we have around the world, in Europe, in Austria, wherever, or just in this case collecting radioactive information in a site where we try to find in a nice way, very fast, the best suited at the area where this contamination happened. What we do is changing our way of doing analysis. Integrate it not only for viewing this real-time information, use it for analysis. Use it for analysis what you see in an everyday weather forecast. You want to see the temperature map right now. You want to see the air quality map right now over all Europe, to see the differences, having heat maps. Do the analysis with this data. This is what we are approaching for, and it's even not so easy to maintain. And that's what we really think that's very need. That's a big need. But when we try to bring all this information and to really address the user's needs, we have to think of what we specifically want to present, very tailored to specific needs, to whom we want to present, who is the user. You can't just answer it if you really can tell a name, not the user, not the expert user. Think of, when you're developing an application, who might be the one? Which is name? Whom do you know, whom you might attract with your solution you are presenting then in the end? This is very, very important. And way more important, it's getting when to present it to the user. When he's at office, when he's at home, when he is traveling, then you have to think of how to present this information to him. And this is the how. And with the how, that's the thing we really are also just starting to go, how to present our users. What we did right now is when we presented geo-information on portals, in specific map applications, we brought the whole information there. But the users got lost. They did not know on what to focus. Ask them questions and give them answers with your applications. That's a task-oriented way. And yes, maybe it's not the best way, but it's a modern way. Everyone is used to doing task-oriented work or task-oriented smartphoning, whatever. People are now used to do task-oriented steps. And maybe that will change in 2 or 3 years, then we have to adapt this again. But really think of how to present it to your users, to present it effectively, efficient. And way more important is you have to satisfy the user. You have to bring in some fancy images, fancy results. He must have a nice experience when he is looking at your information you are providing to him. Really think of this usability and user experience you have to provide to the end users in a way that's for him it's easy to learn. He doesn't need 10 buttons. He just wants an answer. He doesn't know maybe, like we professional GIS people, how to drag rectangles or whatever, do some fancy analysis. Make it easy. Split it up into different applications. That's the way to enhance the usability or user experience, whatever to say. For me personally, it's not so different. Thing is, what we have to think of, it's the content, it's the quality of information we present, and that's a very key thing what we can do here as Inspire community. We have the best quality information in the background than others have. It's quality assured. We don't have that anywhere else in this good way. And we have to think of the presentation. That's the very key things we really have to think on. And then we have to present our results to the users. And this how even is changing. On the one hand, an expert might use a professional GIS system or a web GIS or just very nice little lean web application, web apps as we call it, or even he might use a report. If you have a manager, he's not interested in a map. He's interested in a report. Maybe there's a small map showing where this site is. But the most interesting thing for him usually are numbers, charts. That's what is his focus. So really think of how to present this information. And then we can go to this approach, bringing in the information into portals. And today in the morning we heard no more portal. I agree. It's just a way, it's just a perspective of showing your results. Showing your results to a specific community. You might have 5, 6 different portals or different perspectives, different views on your services in the background for your different clients. I was asked sometimes to make a web map application. I said, for whom is it? Yeah, it's for the expert, it's for the common user. And I said, okay, which common user? Yeah, for me and you. I don't know about the topic. Yeah, still, it's also for you. I don't understand this kind of map application. So you really have to think of, split up the applications, present them in a way, and I like to present it in a way as Reynolds said in his presentation, saying it's a very famous book in doing web presentation strategies, and he said it's like a Japanese dish. It has to look nice. In the end, that's it what people want to see. How long do you stay on a website? A minute? 10 minutes? Half an hour? Usually a few seconds. So you have to usually, if you have a web map, if you want to present your geo information to your users, you have about 10 to 15 seconds to attract them with your information you want to present. And he must get it in this time. Otherwise, he will change to another website. So you really have to think of how to bring this information to the people. And the user spatial experience, keep in mind that it's very, very different. Our geo-expert knowledge is usually not the way we have to go. And even the experts, the biologists, the hydrologist experts, they have very, very different views on the common user outside for the Inspire datasets. And I just want to present a few solutions what we are focusing right now on. Having very nice, lean access points. Having a portal, doing the search, finding your applications you want to need, having a nice image on there. That's just from our, it's one example from our portal in the Geo framework project we are now working on. Or just presenting the housing quality in the city of Salzburg. So you address really every user. There's no tools you can select. It's just click into the map. Click at the map and get the results about the housing quality. That's all you can do in a map like this. And going further to the live information, to the sensor webs. And I really like this kind of Android application in the middle. It's just 3, 4, 5 buttons. It's from the Open Data Kit group. And what they do is they bring location, pictures, multimedia images together and present it just in a GIS map. So we really can bring in that very, very nicely. And if you remember again the introductory session, the plenary today, it's just we need the people out there to mark where there's some waste on the street, to mark it that it would be put away. So bring in people as sensors. Try to bring that information in. Use it in your organizations. Or even what we have done here, search for radioactivity sources. Do a live analysis within a 1 minute's time frame, and you absolutely see very, very fast the red hotspots. Doing standardized sensor webs, in this case in a miniature format, just being embedded in mobile, not with big server solutions. And then you even have to consider building portals in the way that you even can work with the sensor data. And there's some nice solutions already out there we are leveraging, bringing in data from different sources, and even do habitat monitoring. So we really can do a very neat little things, in this case in the National Park of Berchtesgaden, just to look where all these different animals are going around in a matter of time. So what I just wanted to express with my presentation with this short 15 minutes, it's about think of the spatially enabling society, not only the experts. It's coming to be a common good working with GIS data. So we have so many treasures in the background. Open them up even if they are not ready. And good applications are way better than not working perfect applications. So really think of opening your sources so that we can really satisfy the user's needs. They ask it from us now. That's the very important thing. Open it up and link them together in time and space. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Manfred. Is there any question? Yes, please. Go ahead.
Thank you for a nice, clear presentation. I agree with you for the most part, but you've raised an important issue that most of this technology isn't going to be for most people now. So do you have any thoughts about continuing training for people who may be used to the technology but need to learn more? And also how we're eventually going to have the majority of the population who don't have access to technology or technological understanding at present. The term we normally use is the digital divide. So certainly my parents' generation, the grandparents who are disappearing off this planet rapidly, are not going to necessarily see that, and to put a little spin on it, and most of these people are taxpayers too, so what's in it for them?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, because the digital divide is a big question which is arising, and I don't have the answer on that. So I cannot answer how to bridge the gap between this digital device. What we can do is even bring in those younger people, very, very interested and that want to work with society. And we see that giving them some technical tools that really are fancy really attracts one specific group. It's just one part. So there have to be other additional work to be done to integrate all the society. And in this case, we are focusing on a very specific group right now. It's the same as we have to present even also our maps on Facebook. But there we have the twice digital divide. So It's a way of, yes, that's some further steps we have to deeply go into. In this case, it was just showing that it's working, because people are right now not believing that we can bring that together. This is the first step, showing them it's working, and then we can go to the next questions, and this is one we definitely have to work on.
Another question? Yes.
Hello, thank you for the informative presentation. My question is, you showed us the smartphones, probably everyone has one now in their pockets, and so many other devices which are like popping up every day in our daily life. And my question is, because of all these enabling technologies, is it really required to adapt to amount of data produced every day? I mean, the people should adapt to technology, or maybe the technology adapt to people's need. I mean, because you have lots of data produced, and you say we should break down and filter out the necessary things and find the actual users who actually need them. But I'm not sure if people actually need all the redundant data and all these technologies at once.
Okay. Maybe just give a comparison. I was asked a few years ago, there was a discussion in Austria going on to open the street network to the people. And they were told it's not necessary because nobody will use it. Then OpenStreet was coming up, and private groups, not paid, built an own street network. So I don't know if the data might be used, but if we don't open the data, we even don't know in the future if it's useless or not. Now we have the information layers, open them up, and then we'll realize which ones will be used and which ones will not be used. And this will even help us to decide for the future maybe on which kind of data sets to focus to have in monitoring and which kind of data maybe is not so important. But not using it is something, it's a waste of energy, it's a waste of money. So really open it up, and if it's used or not, we have some open government data initiatives in Austria. And they were not thinking that maybe one might use a data set showing the waste basket in Vienna. There's one person already selling about 10,000 apps on this just kind of one product. I was neglecting that he can make any money. He did. And he's paying taxes on that. So that's why it's worth opening it.
Okay, thank you very much.